evidence of forgery together, since they were brought over from the ID document in one group. Now let's look at the date stamps in box 20 and 22. In this case, the stamps were brought over one at a time. But as we do this experiment, ask yourself, what are the odds that two stamps in two separate boxes, stamped by hand 16 days apart, would have the exact same angle in box 20 and the exact same angle in box 22? First, we'll look at the left stamp. Now the right stamp. It should be pointed out that these stamps were looked at by two separate document examiners who specialize in two separate forensic disciplines and who reside on two different continents. Both agree that these angles are identical on both the Obama document and the ID document. It should be noted that Susan and Gretchen Nordijk were born 5 minutes from each other and have consecutive serial numbers. Therefore, their date stamps ostensibly would have been put on back-to-back. But as you can see, looking at the leftmost date stamps underlined in red and looking at the rightmost date stamps underlined in blue, there is no similarity in terms of the angle of the date stamps. How ironic that Barack Obama's birth certificate and Johanna Ani's birth certificate, which were stamped 16 days apart, are identical in angle according to two separate disciplines within the world of forensic document examination, and yet the Nordijk twins, born 5 minutes from each other, stamped back-to-back, don't show any similarity in angles. We've made a number of references to angles so far. The reason for that is if you're going to take an item off of one document and place it onto another, the angle is going to remain the same unless you intentionally alter it after you place it on the second document. When you have two separate documents with two hand-placed date stamps at the same angles, it should be obvious that a forgery has taken place. For the next example, we'll need to zoom in a little bit. Now we are going to focus on boxes 6D and 6E within the Obama PDF. Both X's were taken directly from box 6D in the Ani long-form birth certificate. In fact, not only was the X pulled over, but the box itself was pulled over, and various parts of the line on top of the X were also pulled over, according to forensic document experts. Next, we'll drop the ID document out of the picture, except for the items that were used to create the Obama birth certificate.
They concluded that it is 1,000 times more probable that the document is inauthentic, because they have concluded that that document, it is highly improbable, next to impossible, that you will find another document with every anomaly we just showed you. That's forgery. The evidence noted herein is clear and convincing proof that the Obama Certificate of Live Birth, posted on whitehouse.gov on April 27, 2011, is a fraudulently manufactured document. Evidence indicates that this Certificate of Live Birth of Johanna Ani is one source utilized in the construction of the Certificate of Live Birth. This information that we have just shared with you is evidence. But what you're seeing here is the information is taken, the stamps were taken, the X's were taken, and I've got two different forensic examiners concurring that it's fake. It's a fabrication. This carries federal penalties. The state of Hawaii has done everything they can to stay away from validating that image. We don't know where Mr. Obama was born. We don't know if he's a natural-born citizen or not. I don't think the country knows what the definition of that is anymore.
9 points of forgery in which words, letters, and hand-placed date stamps had been digitally copied from the Ani long-form birth certificate and pasted onto Obama's long-form birth certificate.
this has something to do with somebody that had a knowledge of cut and paste and Photoshop and God only knows what else. But unfortunately, those items, by forensic determination, 2 different disciplines, 2 different continents have come to the same conclusion. They both concur. And they came to that conclusion with different scientific principles. We're pretty confident in these results. This document has been created. It's digitally been created. It is not real. The biggest question is, why?
You yelled at your television and radio. You argued with your in-laws. You scoffed at the cable news channel. You unfriended people you've known for decades. You canceled business deals. You parroted media lies. You labeled people birthers, racist, stupid, and crazy. And while doing so, you deliberately forgot who told you all about it first. And now, almost a decade later, it turns out that you were wrong, and the certificate of live birth presented on the whitehouse.gov website a few years back, proving that Barack Hussein Obama, if that is his real name, was born in the state of Hawaii, was a forgery, a fake, a fraud, a fabrication. You were so damn confident, so arrogant in your dismissal of anybody who told you about the laughable document was a fake, and now you have nothing to say about being exposed as a damned fool. Your arrogant adherence to a false reality has once again put 400 million Americans and a world of 5 billion at risk because you are too damn stupid to not be suckered by a street corner 3-card Monte con job. The founders of this nation, men whose 18th century sensibilities dwarf the arrogant 20th and 21st century big mouths who pathetically attempt to interpret and explain total nonsense, place safeguards in our founding documents to protect us from individuals whose loyalties were not in accord with the American system or our American values. So they created Article 2, Section 1 of the United States Constitution, which states, "No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of the President." 1788. The key term for anybody still not alive 238 years later is natural-born citizen. What is natural-born citizen? Based on the writings and the bookshelves of our founders, it becomes clear they subscribe to Emmerich D. Vattel's The Law of Nations, where citizens and natives are defined in Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 212. The citizens are members of a civil society bound to the society by certain duties and subject to its authority. They participate in its advantages. The natives, or natural-born citizens, are those born in the country of parents who are citizens. The natives, or natural-born citizens, are those born in the country of parents who are citizens. To further secure the assurance of allegiance theory, on 26 March 1790, Congress passed an act to establish a uniform rule of naturalization, which states, "And the children of citizens of the United States that may be born beyond sea, or out of the limits of the United States, shall be considered as natural-born citizens, provided the right of citizenship shall not descend to persons whose fathers have never been resident of the United States. The right of citizenship shall not descend to persons whose fathers have never been resident of the United States." The Supreme Court has defined the distinction between natural-born citizen and citizen in 6 separate cases. The Venus in 1814, Shanks v. DuPont in 1830, Scott v. Sanford in 1857, Minor v. Happersett in 1874, U.S. v. Won Kim in 1898, and Perkins v. L. in 1939. None of these decisions have been vacated as of 2016, and the clear definitions of natural-born citizen and citizen stand as such today despite all of the media punditry. There are those who attempt to assert that the 14th Amendment will provide these protections. But when we read the 14th Amendment, we see every person born within the limits of the United States and subject to their jurisdiction is, by virtue of natural law and national law, a citizen of the United States. This will not, of course, include persons born in the U.S. who are foreigners, aliens, who belong to families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States, but will include every other class of person, as penned by Senator Jacob Howard, the man who created the 14th Amendment and presented it to the 39th Congress, first session in 1866. To further explain this grandfather clause, I will use my own family history as an example that you always wrong can get a grip on how things are supposed to work. After Grandpa Dynamo arrived on America's shores, he was eligible to become a naturalized citizen, but he could never hold executive office. My own father, Dynamo Dad, born in the Big Apple, right here in the Empire State, even though he is an American citizen by birth, is ineligible to hold executive office. Only I, out of 3 generations of American dynamos, possesses the proper citizenship to hold executive office in the United States. That is the law in America. Not CNN's opinion, not Fox's opinion, not the New York Times opinion, not the ignorant harpies on The View's opinion, and not the Comedy Channel's scripted laugh track opinion. If your grandfather was not an American citizen, you cannot be president. But that means there's 2 classes of citizens in America. That's right. But that's wrong. No, you're wrong. Your political agenda is no longer American-centric, and therefore it jeopardizes our constitutional republic. You were warned, oddly enough, by the lying loser Hillary Clinton, whose campaign first revealed Barack Hussein Obama's constitutional ineligibility in February of 2008, when her staff member Bill Shaheen spilled the beans on Obama's admitted addiction to cocaine and other narcotics. A few months later, in the spring of 2008, the Clinton campaign circulated an email pointing out Hussein Obama's African birth story, thereby revealing his constitutional ineligibility to hold executive office. But common law says nothing. America is not England, and it does not subscribe to common law. I quote, "There is no common law in the United States in the sense of a national customary law, distinct from the common law of England, as adopted by the several states, each for itself, applied as its local law, and subject to the alteration as may be provided by its own." 124 U.S., 124 U.S. 478, Justice Matthews, Smith versus Alabama. But Obama's mother was a citizen. Stanley Ann Dunham was indeed a citizen, but as a minor at the time of Barack Hussein Obama's alleged birth, Stanley Ann was unable to convey citizenship status to her Kenyan father-child. We read 8 U.S. Code 1401, subsection G. A person born outside the geographical limits of the United States and its outlying possessions, of parents, one of whom is an alien, and the other whom is a citizen of the United States, who prior to the birth of such person was physically present in the United States or its outlying possessions for a period or periods totaling not less than 5 years, at least 2 of which were after attaining the age of 14 years. 18-year-old Stanley Ann Dunham did not qualify as a lawful American citizen as she did not live in the United States long enough to convey citizenship to her child. No matter what legal standard you might attempt to assert, you're wrong. Barack Hussein Obama was never constitutionally eligible to hold presidential office. Barack Hussein Obama has claimed he was born in Kenya. Barack Hussein Obama has claimed he was born in the Kapiolani Maternal Center in Hawaii. Barack Hussein Obama claimed he was born in the Queens Medical Center in Hawaii. Barack Hussein Obama has claimed he didn't know which hospital he was born in Hawaii. The Democrat National Committee claimed they certified Obama to lawfully hold presidential authority. Fox News hosts have claimed they've seen the birth certificate. The Hawaiian Board of Health director claimed to see the birth certificate before dying in a mysterious plane crash. The Hawaiian governor claimed there was a birth certificate before he claimed there wasn't. All of the nonsense and all of the insulting defiance and posturing, and now all we have is media silence, as the lies have been exposed by not one, but 3 different forensic investigative teams who conclude without a shadow of a doubt the birth certificate presented in 2012 by your government was a cheap Photoshop fraud. 6th graders could have produced a more believable forgery than did whomever slapped together the counterfeit document that provided the only proof required for the unthinking, agenda-driven morons who willingly goose-stepped to every DNC marching parade band. Dozens of alphabet agencies, like the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, DHS, police and investigative departments in 50 states, state troopers, the Secret Service, and the finest police